How y'all doing? Welcome to Sankofa Podcast YouTube channel with your host, Silverstein Davis. Today I want to start unpacking some of the good meaty stuff, the actual steps to healing from childhood trauma, since that's what we've been talking about. In my first video, I gave some definitions and why childhood trauma is unique to other forms of trauma. In my second video, I shared way too much information. I know there's conditioner in my hair. My hair's thirsty, it'll drink it later. I did get some messages of concern. A lot of people were concerned that some of the things that I said in my last video might tarnish images of people, such as my parents mentioning that they sold drugs and pimped. Let me clarify some things. My mom was the pimp, not the hoe. It's true, but it's kind of funny to me. But no, for real. Okay, I'm gonna clarify some things. Both of my parents have moved past that phase of their lives, and they are both successful, upstanding, contributing members of society. They both are college educated, they're both well-rounded, and they're well-rounded, and no one would have any idea of their background if they don't watch any of these videos or if they haven't known them personally. As far as withholding my own truth or keeping secrets for the sake of others, I don't really believe in that. I think that a lot of families have a culture of like, shh, don't talk about Uncle Joe. Don't say what so-and-so did. But I don't really, like I said, I don't believe in that. I think that if somebody does something to you, you should be like, it was him, it was her. Yeah, anyways, so I just wanted to clarify that up. I may face some legal issues and videos might get disappeared. And if that happens, that's what happened. Also, I did get a lot of feedback saying my videos are too long and too unedited. And look, I'm busy, okay? I don't know how to edit. I'm learning little by little in my spare time, which I don't have much of. Feel free to volunteer to edit my videos. This will be finite. I'm not going to do these YouTube videos forever. I'm just gonna get out this set and then switch over fully to the podcast. I've been collecting some guests to bring on who are professionals in this whole field, and they're gonna come and share their knowledge and expertise. Also, my baby is not feeling well, so I also want to make it quick because I need to go get her some chicken and rice because, if you have a dog, you might understand. So, steps to healing trauma. So, I've narrowed it down to 5 steps. If you go to like psychologytoday.com or like any of those other self-help websites, they're usually like 9 to 15 or more steps. I've kind of narrowed it down based on some research and life experience. So these are the 5 steps. Recognize it, speak it, ground it, forgive it, release it. Those are the steps to what I call the surgery. That's the breaking the bone and putting it back together. That's the hard part. Sometimes you don't heal correctly. They say if you close the wound, it'll heal. Sometimes it's not a wound. Sometimes it's the bone and the muscle and the tissue, and it's not healing correctly, and you gotta re-break it so that it gets an opportunity to heal properly. So that's kind of what the surgery, those first 5 steps are. That's kind of reopening a little bit to compartmentalize properly. And then the steps, what I call the recovery after the surgery. You know what I'm gonna say? Number 1, sleep. I cannot stress enough. You're just gonna keep hearing me say it. Sleep. Your body repairs cells while you're sleeping. Period. It repairs everything while you're sleeping. You grow while you're sleeping. Free radicals and stuff are neutralized by your body's immune system while you're sleeping. Your brain cleans up little neural garbage stuff while you're sleeping. That's emotional crap too. Anyways, sleep is number 1. Eating good food. Walking / exercise. Exercise is very important to getting those positive chemicals pumping, the dopamine and the I don't know why I can't ever remember anything. Whatever, you know what I mean. Getting the positive chemicals going, exercise, and it doesn't have to be like super strenuous. Build, and by building, I mean building good, positive relationships, because that also increases those positive chemicals. Address, which actually I can take address off there because address and build are basically the same thing by my definition. And then protect, meaning once you've recognized how valuable you are to yourself and you start treating yourself as valuable as you are, then you protect yourself. And I say you protect the inner child of yourself like it's on the outside of you and like it's your baby. So let's go and dissect these things a little bit further. So the hard part, surgery, recognizing it, name it and cite it. So there are a lot of grounding exercises that you can find on the web. Basically, a grounding exercise. Sorry if it's extra loud today. I feel it's my AirPods in and I didn't charge them, so just using the phone's audio. I hope it's okay. Sorry if it's not. Basically, a grounding exercise is almost a form of meditation and recall. For example, would look like sitting with your eyes closed, breathing deeply, and thinking back to a traumatic experience and kind of reliving it in your mind, but maintaining your breath, controlled breath, and then paying careful attention to each detail about how you felt and how thinking about it is making you feel. It really gets you in touch with your feelings, I guess. Part of doing this exercise is giving a vocabulary to things. A lot of the times, the trauma leaves us with feelings, just feelings, and no understanding of what those feelings are. Just feelings. Feel bad. But what you want to do is drill down to, what do you mean you feel bad? I feel scared. I feel hurt. I feel neglected. I feel unloved. I feel pain, physical pain, and then even drilling down, physical pain because she hit me. Physical pain because I got hit by a car and my arm got broken and that hurt. And when I think about it, I feel pain in my arm, and really relive that moment, whatever the trauma is. And then assign as descriptive of a vocabulary to each emotion and each piece as you can. So that exercise, let me just say, if you have, all of what I'm saying, I understand is way easier to say than to do. And if you do have resources for like a professional therapist, psychologist, whatever, use that. And if you don't, find resources. I will actually link some resources. A little spittle just came out. I don't know if y'all noticed that, but I will link some resources on this video for you guys to check out if you feel like you want to pursue this exercise. The second step is also quite controversial. Get it out. Talk about it. Talk about it with a trusted friend. Talk about it with your therapist. If you have a therapist, they probably already told you to talk about it. Talk about it with yourself in the mirror. Write it down on paper and then read it out loud. The whole point is to get it from here and here to out. Then the third step is forgiveness. If there is a particular offender, visualize that person, visualize your situation, and first forgive yourself. We often carry so much guilt for things that we really don't even need to be guilty. We have no right to be guilty because we were not in the control. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for not even addressing the issues. Forgive yourself for neglecting yourself. Forgive yourself for continuing the abuse and neglect that you experienced as a child to yourself. Forgive yourself, and then forgive the circumstances. Be they intentional of somebody who hurt you or just a circumstance, like an environment that traumatized you. Forgive it. Each one of these steps you may have to revisit. Forgiveness is one of those steps. Oftentimes you feel like, I was hurt so deeply. I cannot forgive that person. I will not forgive that person. Whether you believe that you are capable of forgiving that person or not, just say it. So and so, I forgive you for doing what you did to me and for hurting me in this way, and be specific. And all of these exercises are emotional and often bring up emotions. So if you are going through the motions and you get emotional and you gotta cry, scream, yell, punch the air, do that. And then after you've gone through the forgiveness exercise, you're gonna just release it. Give it up. I have a higher power, Jesus, God, the universe. Not all necessarily the same thing, but there's this universal concept that they are. And I just want to encourage you to have a higher power. In AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, that is like a prerequisite. Like, no matter what denomination you're in, you have to have a higher power. You have to have something outside of yourself, because obviously you've been failing yourself for so long, that can have more control than you have. So make that connection. There is a higher force that is aware of us and conscious of itself. And it is love. And you can give, it can fix anything. And you can give even the trauma, even the most deepest wounds can be given away to it, and watch, they will be healed. If you are atheist or just very anti-spiritual, I implore you to just try it. just try it. If nothing else has been working, try releasing your burden to God. So after you've done your releasing, you can meditate on what are some of the effects that the trauma has carried over into your life. Maybe you have a distrust of individuals. Maybe you don't trust certain type of people because that's where some pain came from. Or maybe, a lot of people get traumatized from dog bites and they just don't like any dogs ever again. So you can maybe say, like, if that was your trauma, I am afraid of dogs because I was bit. So then map a plan to overcome that. And that's the hard part. How can I overcome it? And not obviously, but to overcome fear, you face it and you put yourself in the position to interact with the fear that you have. So after that, we get to the recovery. So did I say everything that I want to say? Not really, but also I'm going to be doing an exercise in my next video where I'm going to walk you through each step by step, and I'm going to do the 5 steps on camera. I was thinking of doing it live, but I'm not. If you do have any questions or comments, please feel free to comment below. Also, Instagram is Sankofa Podcast, Twitter, same, Facebook, the same. Feel free to message me there. I think Instagram would be like the quickest, easiest way to reach me. Now, the other hard part, recovery, maintaining and building your well-being. Think of the maintenance or the recovery as medicine. You don't necessarily want to do it. You might not want to go to sleep at a decent time. You might not want to get out of bed at a decent time. You might not want to exercise or even go for a walk. You might not want to do anything, but these are the steps necessary to start to build yourself back up into a healthy mental space, and to start creating healthy habits that will carry you forward successfully. So, what did I say my number 1 was again? Say it with me. Sleep. Yes. So you need a minimum of 8 hours a night. Think of it this way. For every hour that you miss, you're taking a day off your life. If you have more than 4 ACEs, you're already minus 20 years. Why add to that? Let's not. Let's take care of ourselves. Let's get some sleep. Each one of these things I will be going more into detail with in the next video. Like I said, sleep impacts you on a cellular level. You need it. You need to sleep. We'll talk later about people who sleep all the time, or they think that they sleep all the time. There's sometimes people who feel like they sleep all the time, but usually that's not what's actually going on. And if you are someone who is literally sleeping night and day, hit me up. Most people sleep all day and then they're up all night. And the sleep isn't usually sound. So after sleep, I said it was diet. So diet is actually not as difficult as it sounds. You know what junk food is. You know, chips and candy and McDonald's and Wendy's and Whataburger and fried chicken and fried anything pretty much is junk food. Junk equals junk. If it's junk food, don't eat it. Most processed food contains a lot of chemicals. Most of your chemical neuron things are actually in your stomach, which have a direct effect on your brain. So eating poorly leads to poor cognitive functions. So basically, here's my rule. If it comes in a package that crinkles, like chip bags, don't eat it. Just don't. Make your own salads. because the bag salads getting recalled like every few months. I swear there's some type of something wrong with the salads. I will also talk more about healthy dieting. But I think most of us know what is not good food and what is good food, what is not junk and what is junk. And you can do some research on easy, simple foods. And actually, I'll put a link to this there's a book I read that's about like the second brain, and it's about your stomach basically. But there's a link in the book to an article. I read all my books on an e-reader. And it has like really simple, good meals and stuff. So I'll link that. Exercise. You don't need to do a lot of exercise. Literally, you just need to get your heartbeat pumping, run around the block like 10 minutes. That's a lot. That gets a lot of endorphins kicking. You start to feel good. Walking is exercise, but it's more than just exercise. Walking has like this whole effect on your whole system. If sleep is number one, walking is number two. Like in some cases, honestly, it's better to just not eat at all. I believe in fasting. To get outside and to move is vital. It changes the way you respond to your environment. Your brain starts to work a little differently once you get to moving. There's all these automated systems happening in your body. You're like not falling over, not crashing into things. Some actually pretty complex thing just to walk. But we've been doing it since we've been like 1 or 2, however old we started walking, and we're really good at walking, but it's actually a really complex thing. And there's kind of a moving meditation that happens when you get to walking. If you have the environment where you can like go outside and there's like a park or a trail or something like that, do that. If not, a couple times around the block, walk to the neighborhood, open your map. Seriously, this is what I do. I open my map on my phone. I look for green. If I see green, I go to that place. If you can drive to a park, find the nearest park, walk, catch a bus, do whatever. I know we're in a time of social distancing, but get out there, put your mask on, stay 6 feet away, walk. Walking is important. Go on a walk. I'm gonna do a challenge, and I'm gonna have a giveaway for people. I'm gonna make like I've already made it. It's like a scavenger hunt for outside, and people who follow along with me and complete it, whoever's the first person to find all the things on the scavenger hunt over a series of time, will get a gift from me. While walking, if you have children or pets, walk with them or without them. If it's easier for you to just leave them home and go on a walk by yourself, then do that. In fact, I encourage walking by yourself over walking with children or pets. But I also encourage walking with a friend. If there's a trail nearby or a park, or like where I live, there's like this long trail, it's like miles long. People go running on it. I see people walking with their friends all the time, just walking and talking. That's great as well. Try not to look at your phone while you're walking. That somewhat defeats the purpose. You kind of need your eyes to wander in order to get into that meditative state. And when you're looking at your phone, you're re-engaging focus, and that won't allow you to get into that Zen meditation state, that flow. Exercise, I already said, doesn't have to be crazy. Just getting the heart pumping. Literally, you could run once around the block and then walk once around the block, and like there you like satisfied your daily medicine of repair and mental health. What was the next thing I said? Build. So build is referring to relationships. You trim the weeds. That's what I like to call it. Trim the weeds. Some relationships are not serving us positively. And those are weeds. And I'm not saying cut the weeds out and do away with the weeds. I'm saying trim them. Limit your time with them. How do you know who is a weed friend and who is a sunshine friend? Who's feeding you and who's sucking energy out of you? Consider how you feel when they leave your presence. Your friend came over, you guys hung out for a couple hours, they left. Were you left feeling like good and uplifted and like, yeah, I can't wait to see them again? Or you left feeling like drained, like, oh man, God, every time they come over, man, I feel like I need a nap. Like, if you're feeling like you need a nap, limit time with them. I am not saying get rid of friends. Sometimes it is necessary to just sever relationships, just chop, cut it off. You don't need that. And honestly, when you know you need to do that, you don't need to tell them about it either. You could just do it. I don't know if that's good advice though. Sometimes you can be really polite and just say, hey, I'm taking a mental health break for myself, and that involves not talking to people. You don't have to tell them it's just not talking to them, okay? But start to assess your relationships and start creating real boundaries. I'm also gonna talk about boundaries more in depth. I might just write an article and put it at the bottom of this video. We'll see what happens. For people who leave you feeling negative, put them on a list. You can make a list in your phone, like a physical list. I love making lists. Or if you can remember it in your head, put it in your head. And then for the people who make you feel good, that you want to spend more time with, put them on another list. And the idea is to minimize the I don't want to spend more time with these people list, and to spend more time with the people that you actually want to spend time with. And by spending time, that doesn't mean physically getting together, which most of us are not doing right now. But I mean time on the phone. If they're not elevating you in any way, then they need to kind of take a back seat. And I was saying in my second video, one of my problems is taking care of others. That's a codependency problem. So if you have some codependency, you kind of have to create boundaries for your own self and kind of monitor your own self. Also, be honest and examine. That's the next step. Be honest with yourself and where you fall on your own list. Sometimes being with yourself is negative and exhausting. In the book, The 48 Laws of Power, one of the rules is avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. And it's basically the perpetually unhappy and unlucky. And sometimes you have to be honest with yourself. And I had to at one point be honest with myself. I'm the perpetually unhappy, unlucky individual. And people should avoid me. I was always having something negative happen to me. And I was always talking negative things also, which I'm also a believer in. What you speak out, you'll manifest into your world. So you have to be honest with yourself on where you fall on your own list. And then you have to start creating boundaries for yourself and creating some counter behaviors to your natural behaviors. We do these things for so long. People have the worst self-talk. I once heard this great analogy, and I don't remember where I heard it, but basically this guy says that a woman goes out on a date. She goes on a date. It's a blind date. She meets this guy on online, some online dating site. She goes on a date. She's sitting there. He's handsome. He's successful. She knows a little bit about him from his profile. They're chopping it up. She's actually can't believe how well the date is going. And then halfway through the meal, he says, actually, I'm not enjoying myself, and just walks away. And she's stunned
at the dinner table by herself. And so she calls her girlfriend and she's like, yeah, he just said he wasn't enjoying himself and that he didn't want to see me anymore and just left. Like, he just literally walked away and left me in this restaurant by myself. And her friend is like, well, what'd you expect? I mean, look at you. You're not cute. He's probably way out of your league. You're not really successful. Like, you haven't really been going anywhere in life. Like, why would he have even stayed? And then you're thinking, like, what kind of friend is this? And then the guy telling the story was like, she was the friend. This is what she was saying to herself. And we so easily put ourselves down. So here's a tool that you can use, that I use. You have to learn to recognize when your self-talk is negative. But as soon as you recognize it, stop it. And I actually got this from Lisa Nichols, who I'll give you a link. I don't know if she has any TED Talks or anything, but I'll link something to her because she's pretty amazing. And so she has this trick that she does when she catches herself doing negative self-talk. She takes her left hand and she touches her temple like it's a tape. She sees a tape player in her mind. She stops the tape and then presses play with the other hand to turn on the positive self-talk. So if you're like, I'm stupid, I'm ugly, I'm dumb, I don't deserve it, recognize that that's negative self-talk, you stop it. And then for every negative thing, you have to counter it. I'm smart, I do deserve it, whatever, you get it. So the whole Sankofa idea is that we want to go back and get the inner child, because your child version of yourself was so pure and perfect and knew exactly what she loved and what he or she loved and what they wanted. When I would say 7 years old, would be before my big trauma that happened to me. I was really into like animals, which still am. I'm pretty true to my child self, actually. But I had moments where I was in total denial of all her life, and she's totally worth validating. Yeah, she's into animals, into helping things, any living thing. She wanted to be a superstar, sing, dance, act, all that stuff. Oftentimes we kind of put away our childhood versions of ourselves and create these totally new people that have nothing to do. Like, you sit at a desk and do math all day, or you punch numbers, or you're like programming something, or like ringing out at a cashier, or like stocking shelves. Like, 8-year-old you does not think you're cool right now. 8-year-old you is like, let's go play ball or climb a tree or go swimming or something. So getting in touch with that childhood version of you, putting together a list of things that the childhood version of you loved, and then reintegrating those into your adult life. And then defending the crap out of that kid. Like, that kid is still you, that kid is still valid. When I say defend the crap out of that kid, we take so much crap from others. You will be at work getting talked down to by coworkers and your boss. People talk crazy to you. I'm not saying everyone, but for some of us, we let family members use us, abuse us, run over us. We let strangers use us, abuse us, run over us. We let loved ones treat us how they want to be treated. Like, God forbid you would let someone treat your own child wrongfully. Like, if someone hit your kid or was talking crazy to your kid, you would get up and stand up like, excuse me, this is mine right here, okay? And that's how you need to treat your inner child, yourself. Excuse me, this is you're not about to talk crazy to me. I'm sorry. No, I'm not gonna allow it. You're not gonna mistreat me. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna. And you need to tell yourself that. You're not about to feed me poison. Not mental, not food, I'm not going to do it. You wouldn't have your kid watching. Also, the social media has us so plugged into negativity. It's really, really it's off the chains. Now you know how old I am. It's ridiculous though. It's huge, and it's a problem. We're inundated with negative images like on a constant basis. Would you just like let your little kid watch a bunch of negative imagery all day long. No. Protect the inner little kid that's in you. Don't feed it negative imagery all day long. We need balance. Also, talking about treating yourself like a child, kids are not easy. Kids are very self-centered and they kind of just want what they want. And we still have a little bit of that in us. You can't just eat Snickers for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You gotta eat some vegetables. Sometimes you gotta force your kid to eat their vegetables. You gotta trick them, put some cheese on it, tell them they're gonna be strong like Popeye if they eat their spinach, you know? You gotta do that for yourself too. Kids don't wanna take a bath. Sometimes, especially if depression is one of your things, sometimes you just don't wanna get out of bed and you don't wanna shower, you don't wanna do anything. You just kind of roll out and go on about the bare necessities of the day without actually taking any hygiene into account. Sometimes you gotta force a kid to get in the bath. Sometimes you gotta make bubbles, make it pretty, throw some toys in there. If you need to do that for yourself, light a candle, put some bath salts in there to get yourself to go and take a bath. Get one of those little shower things that makes the shower smell good when you're showering. It's like, I don't know what they're called. They're like shower aroma. There's like a bag of aroma stuff and you put it on your shower head, turn it on, your bathroom smells like a spa. If you need to do that to get yourself in the bathtub, or if you just need to be strict with yourself and be like, get out of bed, get in the shower, and just do the bare. Sometimes all you got time is to throw that kid in the bathtub. I used to be a nanny, so I dealt with a lot of kids. Wash the kid, rinse them, dry them, get them dressed, then like let them go into the world. Sometimes you have to do that for yourself. Just force yourself to eat your vegetables, take a bath, and do good things for yourself. Yeah, that's about it. So I will be doing an exercise with, I've decided I'm gonna do my videos every other day. So today is Wednesday? Is it Wednesday? Yeah, today's Wednesday. And I won't be doing anything tomorrow. But on Friday, I'm going to do a exercise that basically encompasses those first 5. Recognize it, say it, ground it, forgive it, release it. And I would really love it if you can join me for this exercise, but you will need to find a photograph of yourself, if possible, pre-trauma or around age 8. Because at age 8, the personality of a person is fully developed. Like usually you are who you are by age 8. So if you can find something either pre-trauma or just a young picture of yourself, because I want to do this exercise looking at yourself at the age where the trauma occurred. So do that. I got my picture ready. I'm ready to do this exercise with you. It's gonna be great. Promise. Yeah, and that concludes this YouTube chat. Thanks again for tuning in, and I hope this wasn't too long. I'm gonna go take care of my dog now. Peace out.